Greetings, YouTube. Today's going to be a little strange because I'm going to talk about design, which I think falls under the category of gear because something that is well designed improves its functionality as gear. I'm going to give you some examples here. And this video was inspired by something even stranger. It's inspired by this. Now, this is a container of Methods Squirt and Mop Hard Floor Cleaner, Spearmint Sage, um, and what else does it say in here? Surface safe, non-toxic, plant-based. And it's very simple. You open this thing up, it's got a little spritzer on the top. You spray it on the ground, you mop it up. Floor is clean and smooth and shiny. And I was taken by the shape. So first of all, it's a very pleasing ovoid, kind of a lozenge shape. But then I picked it up, and this section here is very comfortable because this tubular section with a flat in the middle, it feels incredibly good in the hand, and it's very easy to manipulate, which I think is both a bonus for everyone, but also as people who have gripping issues. Um, and if you're an elderly person or you had some kind of mobility issue, this is very easy to hold, which I appreciate. The top here, which has a little spritzer in it, is incredibly well designed. I mean, I don't know if my camera can pick this up. You can't even see them. You barely see little holes up here. But when it's closed, you can't see them at all. It's all good. You can't see them at all. It's perfectly smooth. So they took the effort to make sure that this thing, when it was closed, had a complete seal, which I appreciate. My cat is now not wet. Um, and this is a small thing. They didn't have to do this. There are generic bottles they could have picked up that like, generic bottle X or Y or model 17 or something that would have done the job just as well. But someone went to the effort to make this. And it kind of almost breaks my heart that Method may be the only company using these because this is a great design. It's visually appealing and it's functional. Now, there are other examples. For example, I'll give you one. This is also a great design. It's physically an attractive object. It feels great in the hand, and when you hold it like this, it just fits the human hand in a way that's very pleasing. It just feels like it was made to be held, made to be gripped. It also has a pleasing weight to it. This is a Dansk uh, paperweight, so its functionality as a real-world object is limited. It does what it says. It'll hold things down. I just happen to have it sitting on my desk here because I find it attractive, and I play with it occasionally. Come on, Kitty, I need you out of the way. Yes, I know, I'm horrible. Now this, which I've talked about on my channel before, is a Workala. I'm butchering the man's name, and my deepest apologies. Puka, or Puko, rather. Now this is an example of an object that is both an attractive design, but also absolutely perfectly designed for what it was made to be, which is a knife. Notice the shape of the grip. That's the shape of the space in the human hand. It just feels it feels perfect. The taper is very comfortable, and it as your fingers are narrower here, it swells so that your grip feels consistent all the way to the end. This is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art as one of the best design objects ever made. There's a reason for that, because this is an example of something that was designed attractively, but also functionally. And that's the best kind of design. I own lots of knives. When people ask me how many knives I own, I tell them more than two because I do not know how many knives I own. There are, I don't know, probably a dozen knives within reach of me at the moment. I have them everywhere. Even in my living room, there's a knife sitting next to me on my purple chair, which I use for opening DVDs and like that open the mail. Um, and good design is important because it is a way of having something be efficient, of being economic, um, and also of being attractive, but being functional. When all these things come together like they do in this, that's a beautiful thing. I realize this is a kind of a philosophical gear video. My apologies. But sometimes it's where my headspace is, and this bottle right here, and I wanted to film this video before it went to its home, which is downstairs. My mother-in-law will using this. We just put a new pergo floor in her apartment. So we're going to use this down there to keep the floor nice and clean because she did not have the proper technical cleaner for that new floor. This will do that. She was looking for something called Mop and Glow, which I've heard of. I know I've never purchased it. And being in the midst of a pandemic, they didn't have any at the store. They did have this in a couple of different flavors. Scents, I should say flavors. I'm not going to drink this. But it is attractive looking, isn't it? The color, good color. I mean, obviously they made it look vaguely like spearmint, which is the color we think of as spearmint. I'm intrigued. The actual color spearmint comes from a plant. What does the plant look like? I'll have to do a little research on that. I doubt it looks like this. I'd be intrigued to see why we associate this color with spearmint, but we do. At least I do. The minty color. This is a minty color. But this is a very comfortable object. I like holding it. Just, I mean, it's a floor cleaner, and yet I find it pleasing to the touch. Someone went to effort to make this and do a good job. I maybe go to the effort to contact the Method Company and tell them that they did an excellent job. I want the person that designed this to know they did a good job. Design's important. It's important to us aesthetically, and it's important to us functionally. I own lots of knives that are attractive, and I don't like the way they feel. And I own knives that are perfectly suited to what they do, and I appreciate them because their function follows the form, and I appreciate that. But it doesn't mean that they're necessarily beautiful. So when something hits that sweet spot, when that something gets everything right, wow, that takes it to a whole new level. And that's what I strove for when I was doing my sketches. I used to sketch weapons. I sketched thousands of them. Eventually I stopped. And I strove for that. Didn't often succeed, but there were a few in there. The few that were both aesthetically pleasing and looked like they could do what I designed them to do. And that was a beautiful thing. That made me really happy when I hit that sweet spot. So, tell me, what are your favorite designs? What are things that you have encountered in your day-to-day life that were well designed, that you appreciated that they were designed that way, and that you may even recommend to other people because they are well designed?